Hey guys, I'm John from WATCHSPEC.com, and today I wanted to share with you this little gem that I came across. The KUOE Old Smith. Very cool watch. This video is going to hit just key points. If you want to see all the detail on this watch, I invite you to go to my website, WATCHSPEC.com, where it's going to go through every single aspect of this watch, every fine detail, and it's going to have that spec table included. So please check that out. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications so you don't miss any of my content. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. KUOE is a young brand out of Kyoto, Japan. Of course, Japan is rich with its watchmaking history. KUOE's mission is to offer that Japanese watchmaking with classic design, and I think they really did well with this watch here. They currently offer 4 different models through their website, this being the Old Smith 90-002, which is inspired by vintage military watches, specifically British military watches from the 1940s to the 1970s range. I would say most specifically the Smiths military watches, hence the name Old Smith. Now, despite that name, it's important to know this is not an homage watch. It's not a copy of that design. It's just inspired by it. It is its own design, and I find it to be very unique. But it does stay true to those vintage watches in both its style and its sizing, and we'll cover all of that in this review. So let's go ahead and get started.
Let's talk about the movement. KUOE is applying the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. Of course, it's a reliable workhorse of a movement. It's commonly found in microbrands due to its performance for money value. It is basically an unbranded version of the Seiko 4R35, which is found in their Pro Specs line as well as their Presage lines. The NH35 is actually manufactured in Japan and Malaysia, but KUOE is expectantly and impressively applying the Japanese manufactured version. It beats at 21,600 beats per hour. That's 6 beats per second, which is your basic automatic frequency. It offers a 41-hour power reserve. Regulation is possible. It's hackable. It has hand winding. There are 24 joules. Accuracy is officially reported by KUOE as -20 to +40 seconds per day. Realistically, I'm going to say you'll see within plus or minus 15 seconds per day, and there is a date complication included. Let's talk about style. KUOE's target was to achieve a vintage military feel in this watch, and they did not disappoint. Starting with the case, it is a round stainless steel case. It has soft corners throughout. The case measures a humble 35 millimeters in diameter, a small 41.8 millimeter lug-to-lug height, and a compact 9.1 millimeters thick if we exclude the glass. With the glass included, it's 12.5 millimeters, and lug width is 18 millimeters for the strap. It is very rare to find those kind of dimensions in a watch offered today. But again, KUOE's intent is to stay authentic to what you would find in a mid-century military watch. I think that's very cool. The case back is a simple screw-down stainless steel plate. The dial is a huge talking point here. It may seem straightforward at first, but there's actually a lot of details to appreciate when you look closely. The main disc is a basic flat shape, but it has a very subtle speckled texture to it. Shown here is the matte black, but it is also offered in matte ivory, matte dark navy, and a matte deep green, all very cool colors. It includes high contrast markers, which is a perfect complement to the matte color of the dial. You get the Arabic numbers in a plain bold font. They're actually applied markers, so they stand off the dial and grab your attention. And they're exactly what you would expect in a military watch. The minute and second markers are included in a railroad style ring that travels the outside edge of the dial. This ring is printed in white, but you get these loom printed rectangles of a vintage patina-esque yellow-orange color at 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock, and then a dot of the same kind of loom at every 5-minute mark all along the dial. It really gives the dial an aged and warm, worn-in feel, which I really appreciate. KUOE also minimized the amount of markings on the dial, which I think really simplifies it and keeps it clean. The hands are also something you would expect on a vintage field watch. They have a polished silver trim filled with that same vintage yellow-orange loom to match the dial markers, and I love the sword shape that's provided. For the lens, we have a domed mineral glass. The mineral is naturally anti-reflective, so the clarity is fantastic. Being a domed glass, if you look at this watch from an angle, it starts to distort the image. I think that's really a fantastic touch because it gives the watch some fun with that visual trick and keeps it from being boring. The crown is also modest in its sizing and it fits the proportions of the watch perfectly. I love the domed outer surface with the KUOE name etched in. For the band, KUOE offers not only one but two bands with this watch. Both are 18mm military style nylon single pass straps. These nylon straps are a signature image of what you think of for a military watch. The two colors provided are a black strap and a khaki green strap. Both are offered with polished stainless steel buckle hardware, and both offer the same brown leather loops, which is a contrasting look that I really appreciate on this watch. So bringing all these features together, KUOE did really well at hitting their target for this vintage inspired watch. The smaller proportions coupled with this no-nonsense high contrast dial with the fantastic patina yellow-orange lume, it all just comes together so nicely. There's nothing in this watch that stands out as being overly refined, but you wouldn't expect that from an old military tool watch. This watch stays true to that mid-century military watch style, and I really appreciate the look of this watch. Next, let's talk about usability. So usability is key for a military watch like this. So everything in its design should have a purpose for its use in the field. And I have to say KUOE did a really good job in that regard. Readability is top notch. Again, you get that high contrast dial with the very bright markers and hands against a very dark dial. The fact that the hour markers are so bold and are actually raised off the dial, they're impossible to miss. The hands extend all the way to their respective markers, so there's no uncertainty of the exact time. The railroad style chapter ring that's provided around the outer edge provides precise time reading down to the exact second. The mineral crystal, again with that naturally anti-reflective quality, contributes to the readability. However, this lens with its dome shape means that there will be some distortion if you're looking at sharper angles. The real usability concern with the mineral crystal is scratch resistance. While it is much better than an acrylic lens in this regard, it doesn't match the performance of the top grade sapphire crystal. Having said that, over the course of this review, wearing this watch for a few weeks now, I have knocked it into various items and I have not had any marks on this lens. Next is the lume, and I have to say I am disappointed with the lume in this watch. The lume is included in all the hands and on the dial at every 5-minute mark. It looks fantastic in the daytime as we talked about, but in the dark, even after holding it in direct sunlight or under a high intensity flashlight, the lume in the hands is dim at best and the markers of the dial are near black. I want to talk about the usability of the nylon strap. This strap is well made and reinforced with stitching at all of its connection points. Of course, nylon is water safe and washable. This strap is going to stand up to daily wear for a long time. The water resistance of this watch is rated to 10 bar. That's equivalent to 100 meters. That's a decent amount of water protection, and it does include a screw-down crown, so it is safe to take this in the water for swimming, but should not be used for scuba diving. So considering the overall usability of this watch, it could be improved with a lens upgrade to sapphire, and most especially with an improvement to the lume. But overall, I have to say the usability of this watch is very strong, most importantly in its readability. Let's talk about comfort. Super strong point of this watch. That's due to the modest 35mm diameter and the small 12.5mm thickness. The lugs are a mere 41.8mm lug-to-lug height. That size is so nice on the wrist. This watch is super lightweight as well. It's only 49 grams or 1.7 ounces, but the thin profile of the case keeps the watch's weight right up against the skin, so it doesn't have any unbalanced feel. The 18mm wide band is perfectly sufficient to hold the watch securely to the wrist without limiting any flexibility. The nylon material is known for its comfort. The thin design of this watch, along with all the soft corners and that dome glass, allows the watch to slide easily under the cuff with no catch concern. The crown, it's small enough it doesn't dig into your wrist in any way. The overall comfort of this watch is fantastic. One of the most comfortable watches I've worn.
Okay, let's close with value and verdict. The Old Smith 90-002, it's unique in comparison to other watches that are offered today. You get that vintage feel and sizing, but offered with modern watchmaking technologies and quality. In a new watch, I mean, that's fantastic. So the key points, definitely the style, as we talked about. 35 millimeter diameter. You know, you just don't see that today. It stays true to those old style British military watches. I think that's fantastic. The dome glass that you get on this adds a lot of fun. I love it. Superb clarity from this. Of course, it is mineral crystal. It's not the most durable. Could have been upgraded to sapphire. I would have appreciated that, but we do have to consider the price point. The readability of this watch is fantastic. Of course, that's supported by the design of the military dial and hands, and the clarity of the glass supports that as well. However, it's important to note that the lume performance in the dark is poor. Seiko NH35 automatic movement. It's got hacking and hand winding. 2 straps are offered with this watch. I think that's a great touch by KUOE in 2 different colors. Comfort of this watch is fantastic. Of course, that's due to the lightweight, the smaller sizing of the case and the strap, the nylon strap that contours the wrist so nicely. It's one of the most comfortable watches I've worn. I'm really impressed by the comfort there. Now, I would traditionally say a 35 millimeter watch, it's not gonna work for anybody with a medium to large size wrist and only works for small wrists. I don't think that's true in this case. Of course, because this is a vintage inspired watch, it's supposed to wear like a vintage watch. I think a good comparison here is look at a 1960s Rolex Explorer, or even the Smiths W10 that this watch is inspired by. Those are smaller diameter watches, 36 millimeters on the Rolex, 35 millimeters on the Smiths. Those are highly sought after watches today, regardless of your wrist size, because that's the feel that you're going for. So I think this watch would work for any size wrist, honestly. I mean, it's expected that it's gonna be small if you have a large wrist, but it will still work because of that vintage feel. The price of this watch is $278 US. If we think about the field watch market, one of the most popular options out there, and one that actually compares very closely with this, and I would say is also probably inspired by the Smiths W10, is the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical. So again, similar style, smaller diameter, that's a 38 millimeter, offered on a nylon strap. It's got a mechanical movement, it's a hand wind only. But if we think about that watch, that one starts at $495. That's almost twice the price of this watch. Of course, the Hamilton, you get the brand reputation and the quality that goes along with that. It's got a Swiss movement. Of course, it's hand wind only. Sapphire glass on that, so improved durability there. But you have to ask yourself, for twice the amount of money, is it worth it for those items to get those benefits over this KUOE Old Smith? Everybody's gonna have to make that decision for themselves, but I think we can honestly say that KUOE built a very strong competitor in the field watch market in this Old Smith, and it deserves respect. If you are interested in this watch for yourself, I will leave a link in the description below. If you're interested to learn more about this watch, as I mentioned, my written article over at my website, WATCHSPEC.com, has a lot more detail than what I cover here, so please check that out. I'll leave a link below as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and sign up for notifications. And guys, with that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.